We get a huge update on the Vancouver Canucks trade front as a Canucks insider links the Canucks to a high-impact forward from the Ottawa Senators, and this would be the perfect fit. We're going to break all this down and more later on in this episode. Before we get into that, I want to give a huge shout out to everyone watching this. If you haven't subscribed yet and you want to stay up to date on everything to do with the Vancouver Canucks, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. It's completely free and we'll keep you up to date on everything to do around the team. But with that, Griffin, we gotta hop straight into the first topic today. And just looking at some foreshadowing to this, we've seen Sat come out on February 1st, which is 2 days ago, saying the Canucks are now focused on acquiring an impact forward. Preference is a player in their mid-20s age range that can grow with the core. Now, we did get an update today from another Canucks insider saying can confirm Norris is a player the Canucks are interested in. Timeline for his return looks right after trade deadline, and we will touch on the fact that Norris is injured right now, but Josh Norris would be a perfect fit for this Canucks team. Josh Norris is 25 years old. Once again, going back to this, someone in their mid-20s that can grow with the core. A center playing for the Ottawa Senators, 19 goals, 12 assists for 31 points. Before we fully dive into him, his contract, and all the pros and cons, looking at this, Griffin, do you think the Canucks are going to go out, make a second trade to really shake up this roster to not only impact this season? And if so, do you think Josh Norris could be a good fit?
I think they're definitely going to be making another move or two ahead of the trade deadline. We've heard reports that the Canucks are not done yet. They definitely have more moves on the table that they want to use. I think we've even talked about how Chytial, where as great of a debut as he had, maybe because he had such a great debut, maybe the conversation of the theory might be dead at this point. But we even said too, when Chytial got traded to us, we thought he was going to be flipped for something even more valuable as a result of that, because the Canucks didn't have too much bargaining power. And then all of a sudden they got some within that Rangers trade. But he had a great first game, and I think he's going to be staying in Vancouver a little bit longer than you and I would have initially thought. But with that said, I still think there are other moves on the table. Niels Höglander is someone out there I think that the Canucks are thinking about moving. We haven't heard too many reports on it, but when you look at the time on ice and the precedent of players getting moved out of Vancouver, time on ice is usually the indicator that a player is going to be moved. Vinny Desharnais, we saw that. Eric Branstrom, we saw that. JT Miller, we saw that. Daniel Sprong, we saw that. So with that, the Canucks are definitely going to be making another move. Do I think it's Norris? I think they makes a good case for it, but the health is a very big concern. He is currently injured right now, so it's not like they can already use him, but they do want to go get him when he is back from injury, so it's just a matter of waiting for that. If the Canucks go and get him, I think he does fit this team very well. He had 35 goals 2 seasons ago, so that really bodes well for the Canucks. I know everyone's going to say, well, what has he done for me lately? That's something where the Canucks can come in, and that's where it's up to Rick Tocchet and this team to really boost him up and make sure he can fit in well within this team. If he can do that, along with the chemistry that he already has with Quinn Hughes, I think they'd be off to a very big head start in that department. And I think that would make the transition and his fit a lot better.
And I mean, looking at Josh Norris, the biggest thing is he is signed for 8 years, just shy under $8 million. You would keep Josh Norris on this team until he's 31. You get him for the start of his prime into a part of it. He will be a UFA at the end of this, but Josh Norris does fit the timeline perfectly of this team. We see Quinn Hughes, who's actually friends with Josh Norris. The biggest thing is looking at the fact that Jim said, hey, if we go into a rebuild, we lose Quinn. Bringing in a good friend of his to this team that can be an impact forward, but also help keep Quinn happy would be a major part. And I'm not trying to go in a sense of, hey, you got to keep LeBron James happy. Get his friends. Quinn Hughes is the franchise with this team, making them happy, adding impact forwards along the way would be perfect. Like you said, Josh Norris scored 35 goals back in 21-22, putting up 55 points. This year, 19 goals, 12 assists, 31 points. The Ottawa Senators are looking for a change of scenery. This is a team that hasn't had a deep run or a run really since Erik Karlsson was on this team. They're looking to add more scoring to this team. I don't want to link someone like Brock to this team, but if the Canucks want to move on from Brock Boeser, bring in someone that has terms, someone that's younger to grow with this core. This does make sense. Chytial had such a good first game. I know there's injuries issues with him as well, but I'd like to see what he can do with this team. But just looking at Norris, the biggest thing with him is his faceoffs. We see this year 54%, last year 52%, the year before that with not many faceoffs now, 58%. Josh Norris has been over 50% across his career on the faceoff dot, which is exactly what the Canucks need, honestly. Looking at Chytial, he did go, I think it was 9 for 12 in the first game, but he's not known for his strong suit on winning draws. Bringing in this guy would add more to the team like that. Now, the biggest thing is, like we said, Josh Norris is out for a couple weeks with an injury. This is from a Sens fan saying, feel bad for Josh Norris, who's playing some of the best hockey of late. The silver lining is 4 Nations break will mean Norris won't miss too many games. I think the Canucks can jump in on this, and it would be a perfect fit. A guy that can score you goals, win you faceoffs, be a good play driver. I mean, looking at Chytial and his performance, a guy that was driving the second line, adding someone that seems like a little step above Chytial, even keeping Chytial as a third-line center or third-line winger. Do you think that would be enough of a change of scenery for the Canucks to maybe please fans and help them push to the next level with JT Miller gone?
I really like that idea too, where you bring him in on there because of the faceoff circle and with the injury as well, that he is playing his best hockey. It is unfortunate he got hurt when he did, but for the Canucks, this could be a very big thing for them, where this is a guy who, when he comes back from injury, he could explode, and a lot of teams could be calling the Sens with a lot of lucrative offers trying to steal him. So this could be an example of a player who is starting to really peak this season, or catch fire this season, like he did a few seasons ago when he put up 35 goals. So if he's able to get back to that, and the Canucks don't jump on this earlier or sooner rather than later, the Sens could have a lot of teams knocking on their door with bigger offers if he's able to explode like this. If Canucks jump on this early and he explodes for the Canucks like he would if he was in Ottawa, but he's doing it for us, Patrik Allvin and Jim Rutherford look like geniuses if they pull that off, because they would have had the foresight to make that happen. And yes, like you said, it's not just having somebody to just play with Quinn Hughes because he's his buddy. This is a guy who has the intangibles and is worthy of playing with Quinn Hughes. It's not just someone that, oh yeah, we're just calling up some guy from the AHL because he just wants to get a shot. No. Or like you see in the NFL, where guys who even knew Sean McVay, they were getting hired all over the place. Even in the NHL, we see that happen as well with certain coaching trees. Guys just get jobs just because they know a guy. Nepotism is a big thing within a lot of industries. However, with this case, definitely does not apply, because he does have the ability to do that. And I think with Vancouver right now, jumping on this earlier rather than later is the key priority, because if he starts going off and gets back to that 35 goal form, you risk missing out on him entirely, because you don't have the bargaining power. And with JT Miller gone, as great as Chytial was in the faceoff circle, he's not typically known for that, like you said. So you can't be reliant too much on that, because this Canucks team, we've seen them play like a playoff team. We've seen them play like a bottom 5 team. So this is a team that's known for inconsistencies. So if there's inconsistencies within the game, in the faceoff circle, that's going to be a big problem going forward, and they need to fix that. So bringing in a guy like Norris, I really like for that alone as well.
But I mean, looking at this, Canucks fans, what's your thoughts on possibly going out and getting Josh Norris? What type of package would you give up for him? I know, once again, everyone's going to say, Höglander in a 7th-round pick. Let's be realistic with this. Would you rather Chytial stay on this team after his performance? I mean, he looked outstanding. We're going to do a full video on him, so don't worry. But what would be your ideal trade, and where would you like Norris to go in the lineup, and where would you want Chytial if Norris did join? Let us know down below. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back with another episode, so keep your eye for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Griffin, and take care.